Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Bitcoin miners as well as the crypto stocks. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so tomorrow we have the inauguration at midnight. I believe it's a holiday tomorrow too, as well. So the markets are not going to be open, but we're going to get content onto you guys regardless. So let's go ahead and get into it. Been receiving a lot of questions about the trusts and why are they not going up? What's going on with the price action, guys? Like, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. If I had to guess, I would say when the deregulation from Congress comes in for small businesses and the Fed is cutting rates sometime this year, probably, I would say sometime between the end of this month and March, we're going to start seeing more rate cuts because, I mean, the Fed has to align with what Congress wants because Congress does actually have the power to put them out of business, believe it or not. Believe it or not, they do actually have the power to limit the Federal Reserve or put them out of business entirely. So, the Fed knows that. Congress knows that. I don't think there's anything to worry about. But once we start seeing some of those rotations, I think then we're going to see these things start to pop off. Because again, when it's cheaper to borrow, people are willing to take more risk. Just simply put, okay, the Fed's only cut by 1 percentage point. I mean, that's nothing. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the content now. And yes, Bitcoin is attempting to smash all-time highs. It's probably going to keep going up in the coming weeks because again, we have the most bullish crypto administration we've ever had ever. As far as I know, throughout history, it's been, politicians have been pretty neutral on crypto, openly neutral, probably secretly buying would be my guess. That's kind of just how smart money operates. They'll come out and bash the price. Then everybody wants to panic sell it. And while people are panic selling it after they come out and bash the price by whatever means they do it, then they all go in behind the scenes and buy the cheap prices. So while retail's freaking out. And again, this is just simply how it operates. And I'm not stating this as a fact. This is my opinion, but there's good reason to believe that this is actually true. So anyways, all right. So Coinbase, we have this descending channel. We did get a break out of it. This cut below the structure apparently was an undercut. You guys can see these candle tops over here. I was pretty confident that EMAs were going to hold, especially going into earnings here, because we have a lot of these crypto-related earnings in February timeframe. The prices, in my opinion, are probably going to get marked up into that timeframe, and then perhaps even skyrocket after the earnings, because earnings has that effect. If earnings come out and it beats expectations and it's good forward guidance, in accordance with the options markets, a lot of these stocks can move anywhere from like 8 to 12+% on earnings. So it could just mark up into earnings and then have an absolute explosion during the earnings release itself. That could happen. So regardless of that, we do have a break of the falling wedge. The target is the top of the wedge, so 350. It could obviously go much higher. We have the golden cross on the 4-hourly time frame. I was telling you guys back here when we got this oversold signal in December that likely that was the bottom. It wasn't exactly the bottom, but pretty close. I mean, it was a few dollars off, and then it just took off to the upside. And if you had bought back here, you would have made roughly about a 22% gain as of right now. If you had just bought exactly at the bottom, sold exactly on Friday, you'd be pretty set right now. I mean, 20%, 22% gain on $1,000 even is still $220. So. We have the confirmation bullish breakout here on the 4-hourly and the weekly time frame. I will tell you guys this: the next levels that we would be looking at here would be probably all the way up at 425, and then above that 540. So both of those are definitely possible. You can see that 1.618 lines up perfectly with the previous all-time high. I mean, I literally can't even make this stuff up. So of course we still have a whole another nearly 12 months of room to run during the crypto bull run. So MSTR, nice little bounce, looks actually very similar to Bitcoin. It's kind of ironic how similar it looks. Nice big overcut, undercut, and then a rip. Again, most people would have thought on the bull side this 320 would have held. Nope, because you got market makers going in there trying to stop longs out in this instance, and of course they also stop the shorts out on the side, because if shorts are they're shorting, let's say, the break of this line right here. They got their stop up here, and the price goes down and comes up. What does it do? It stops out the shorts, so effectively wrecking both sides on both sides of the trade, apparently. So yikes. That's all I got to say about that. But regardless, we're not necessarily trying to day trade these things. Maybe some people are, but I'm definitely not. So it's just too volatile. So 720 would be the next level for MSTR here, and then almost $1,000. And yes, do I think $1,000 post 10-to-1 stock split is possible? Absolutely. Again, we do have earnings for this one in February as well. And you guys know last February, the crypto market was pretty explosive. So it all kind of lines up perfectly, right? We got a break of the trend line here. So that's obviously very bullish. Again, it's not going to be an exactly perfect pattern here, but it is a falling wedge. Bullish pattern targets the top of the wedge at 540. If you had bought the oversold signal back here at 286 on anything, doesn't matter what it is, it could be MSTR, MSTU, or anything else, you would be up 40% right now. You can understand why we want to have our strategy the way we want it going forward this year. Okay, so that's MSTR. Now let's get into the miners. All right, so I'm going to start on the 4-hourly time frame, and I'm going to kind of fly through these. So you can see we're getting the golden cross on Mara. It looks like it's going to explode here in a minute. We got that oversold signal, again, right around that same time frame in December. Very ironic time frame. I mean, I understand the mark-to-market towards the end of the year, and also the people wanting to lock in their bonuses on Wall Street and stuff like that towards the end of the year before the year is actually up, the calendar year, that is. But the fact that we even saw a dump like this kind of threw me for a loop, because that usually doesn't happen during bull market years. So, but regardless, if you had bought at the lows down there, you would have made 27% already. Okay, trying to get the next one here. This signal right here is not perfect, but you can see it's pretty close to where we lined up before for these lows down here. Every time we got a swing low, you would have been up 45% at this point. We're at the golden cross on the 4-hourly time frame, so it's in a bull trend. CLSK is finally starting to get the cross here. You can see we're creating higher highs, higher lows. Got that oversold signal down at that $9 area. If you had sat on cash and timed this perfectly and waited up into the current price, you'd be up about 36.5%. Okay, next one here, HUT 8. This never got perfectly oversold, but even if it's not completely oversold, you can kind of measure it by the last time it got oversold. You can see it hit roughly about a 36 the previous time in December and again in December. So you could have measured it based on that, or just bought it based on it being in the buy zone down here. You'd be up 45% at this point. It is also in a bull trend with the golden cross on the EMAs. The EMAs on this one starting to curl up on Cypher. So you can see a lot of bullish confluence going on here between these miners. They're all starting to look very similar, right? They look like they're about ready to rip. Again, the oversold signal down here. If you had just bought straight spot off the market, you would have been up 27%. You can always do options. As the price is getting ready to get to a level that you think may be a good level to buy, like let's say it's dipping and you say it gets right here and it looks like it's going to level out, you could say, well, maybe I want to do an at the money cash secured put, maybe something like I don't know, maybe like 350 or something like that, right? And just in case it comes back up, you won't be able to time the bottom perfectly, but you can get most of the move. Then you could do that to get into your position through options and still get paid passive income while positioning yourself for the upside. But regardless, if you had bought the oversold move here from the largest portion of the move so far, you would have been up 38%. Okay, next one here, BITF, very similar looking W pattern. Got the oversold signal down here, and once again, we're starting to see a golden cross form here, so that's also very bullish. You would have been up about 23% on this move. Okay, sorry about the slowness, y'all. I don't know what's going on here, but again, you have a very similar looking W pattern, right? That's how it's supposed to play out, like that. Obviously, the W pattern would need to get a cut above this neckline right here, and once it does, then that's pretty much game over. It's heading very probably very quickly to the upside. So again, if you had bought the oversold signal, rode it up to where it peaked at recently, you still would have been up 26%. Even if you didn't want to sell, you still would have had a massive gain. Another W pattern, you can see the similarities between the bullish confluence, the oversold signal, the golden crosses, the W pattern, creating higher highs and higher lows. It's literally happening on all the miners right now. So in this case, you would have been up 28%. Wolf, again, I mean, I literally can't make this up. Oversold, W pattern, not quite getting the higher highs and higher lows yet, but pretty close. If you had kind of bought down here at right around this 5 area, you'd be up 30%. Okay, so now let's go over to the weekly time frame. Take a look at the bigger picture, because this is what we really want to look at, because again, we still have roughly about a year of this bull run left. So it is still holding this green box. So it's in the zone, 1750 to 20 for a potential buy area here on kind of a macro scale, with targets going up to 2770. Yeah, 2770 to about 33 on this one. It's a pretty sizable move, about 90%. It could obviously go much higher. I mean, we could see Mara, Riot, CLSK, and HUT8 easily, all four of them probably at like 50, 60, maybe even 70, 80 bucks a share. Wouldn't shock me at all. Okay, so Riot, it appears that we are kind of having a little consolidation here. It's obviously not perfect. A lot of wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside, all that kind of stuff. Very consolidating type move. And again, this is not perfectly off the low, but I suspect with it coming off of the low, going up and then going sideways, we're probably going to get another move up, especially since it's pushing sideways into the EMAs. I told you guys about this move already. When you get a move up and then it goes sideways into the EMAs, usually when the EMAs push up into the price, that pushes the price higher. So we should see something like that. Right now, I'd say anywhere between 1230, maybe going up to probably somewhere in 1230 to 1450 for targets here. With profit targets, buy zones, profit targets anywhere from 1850 to about 21 on this one for about 100% gain. I mean, that's still pretty good. Okay, next one here is CLSK. So I told you guys somewhere along this white line was probably going to be the low. That appears to be the case as of right now. So haven't quite gotten a break out of this channel yet. When we do, the target is the top of the channel at 18, but right now 1020 to kind of this $12 area is the buy area for now. I'd say target's going anywhere from 1830 up to 24 bucks. And yes, I do think it can hit 24. That's definitely possible. It already did it before many times, so 135% gain. Okay, HUT8. So we held the lows here. I'd say probably anywhere between 2050 to about 24 bucks to pick some up on the cheap. 2750 to 33 for targets here. It's not a huge move, but again, this thing has moved substantially off that $8 area, so still nearly 60% gain. I mean, that's not bad. You know, you put $1,000 in, you make $600, and that's even if you're not collecting options premiums. Okay, so Cypher stuck in between the EMAs and the buy zone here. I would say anywhere from 450 to about 550 on this one for the opportunity to pick some up. I mean, it's literally just, once again, it doesn't look like it, but it's literally just going sideways. Okay. So 10 to about 1050 here for targets for about 123% gain. BTPT. So we got the higher highs, higher lows going on here. It's a very bullish looking trend. I would say anywhere probably around these lows at 3, going up to the top EMA here at 375 for a buy area. Targets 485 to 575 for about 82% gain. Okay, let's see. BITF, I would probably say somewhere in this $1.50 to maybe about $1.70 is a good area. It's a pretty tight zone. I mean, it's really hard to see unless you're a day trader and you look at these charts constantly. You're not going to draw little zones like this, but you can see it's respected this level quite a bit. So this is kind of more micromanaging the trade, so to speak. So targets ranging from 3 to about 390 here on this one for about 157% gain. All right, hives. So still kind of sitting at these lows here. I would say probably anything 280 or lower, honestly. 220 to 280 is a steal. I mean, every single time it got to this level, it did not bounce the exact same amount every time, but you got 220%, and here you got like 101%, and buying down here, you would have had like 107%, and even down here, I mean, pretty massive, 143%. So it's clearly respecting the zone. There's some people down there wanting to buy that level. Who exactly it is, institution whales, I don't know. So 5 to about 760 for targets here. And for those of you guys that are like, oh, well, it's never going to get to that zone. You don't know what you're talking about. Guys, it literally did it back here. Before we even hit the bear market lows for crypto, it already did it. And then it nearly did it again in April 2023. So, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, if you're too bearish on these markets, so 172% move, again, not financial advice, but you may want to consider taking the contrarian move. Usually when everybody swings to one psychological end of the markets, the markets will generally move in the opposite direction against you. So if you're super bearish, then the markets will probably turn bullish. If you're super bullish and you think nothing's ever going to go down, you're probably going to get dumped on. I'm just saying. I've been doing this a long time, and cannot tell you how many times I've seen this play out. So, all right, next two we got here, iron. I would say probably anywhere along this gold line, so maybe around $10 for a good area to pick some up, and then about 16 going up to 27, 28, somewhere there for targets. Again, this is an ascending triangle. The target is basically measured from the start of the move to the breakout point. You guys can see how that works for roughly about 177% gain. Last but not least, wolf. Okay, so we have this kind of, it's not exactly perfect, but kind of this rising channel pattern. Do I think this is a bearish pattern? If I'm being completely honest, no, I do not, because again, it is coming off the lows. If this was a move that was way up here somewhere, I would say, okay, yikes. But we were literally creating this since the bear market lows. I just don't think this is going to play out bearishly. I think it's going to be a bullish pattern, and I think when it does break out, it's going to be pretty explosive. So EMAs for the buy zone here, 470 to 630, or you could buy anywhere in this green box, or maybe even in the channel at 404 to 840. I'd say probably within the channel is a better idea. You guys are welcome to come up with whatever you think is best. 386 to 750 for the channel here, or the accumulation zone. So 1620 is what I'd be looking at for the targets. So from the EMA up there, 235% gain. From the bottom of the channel up there, 285% gain. And then if somehow you manage to really get lucky and get the bottom of the green box and swing it all the way up there, 317% gain. Again, why does this level matter? Because it was a previous swing high during both the bull run and during the bear market swings, or what's known as a sucker's rally right here before getting rejected down to the lows. All right. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.